All right, hey everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Immortal Creed Academy. I believe this is episode 6 that we're going to be doing here. Um, in the previous episode, I talked about equipment cards, specifically melee. In this one, I'm going to talk specifically about range cards. Um, as always, you categorize your cards by melee cards, range cards, magic, supporting cards. You have the different rarities, commons, blue, rare being green, epics red, and legendaries are purple. You also have 1 and 2 turn cards, which I explained in the melee episode for the melee cards. But today we're going to concentrate on our range cards. So let's take a look here. Let's go and, like last time, let's go ahead and start with our legendaries. Start with the first one here. You have Whisper's Pursuit. One of my favorite cards in the game. Let's look here to see what it does at level 1. It's a 2-turn card, so it takes up 2 turn slots. Has a 4 speed, and it does the range of damage of 26 to 34 range damage. That's what our little, target down here with the arrow in it means. One thing to point out really quick here, difference between a range card and melee card is they're both physical damage. However, a melee card has a set amount of damage it's going to do, a static number, where a range card will actually hit for a range of damage. So as you see right here, I could hit for 26 points of damage, or I could hit for upwards to 34, or somewhere in between that. One of the differences in the 2 different physical types of attack of melee and range, keep that in mind, that you will always be somewhere between these 2 numbers when you use this card. Let's look at it at level 10 real quick. All right, so still a 2-turn card, 4 speed. Now you're up to 132 to 170 range damage. And we have this other little ability that steps in here. We have this plus 8%. You have a ranged, you have the little reticle, which is generally signifies to hit. And then you have a little plus sign right there above that. So that what that means is every time you use this weapon and you hit with it, you are going to increase your ranged to hit chance by 8%. And of course it stacks. So every time this weapon hits, you're gaining 8% more to hit chance. And with like all ranged cards, if your hit chance gets above 100, anything that gets applied above 100, or any number above 100, if you get to say 108 with this one, that extra 8% is going to be converted into damage and also increase your damage. One of the reasons I really like this card is once the to hit gets over 100%, then you start pouring all that extra into damage. Can really become a devastating card in the game. As you can see, it starts gaining this ability at level 2. Goes all the way up to level 10. We're in the library here looking at all the cards, so you can always come to the library in the game and look at each card to see what abilities it has, what kind of damage increase it has at each level. Really encourage people to go take a look at the library and explore some of these cards themselves. Next legendary is Necrosis. At level 1, it's a 1-turn card, 4 speed, and does 12 to 16 melee damage, or not melee damage, range damage. Now let's go look at it at a level 10. And you'll see here you're at 4 speed, 77 to 99 range damage. You have this little +1 here. +1 with the little watch. Of course, we've learned from other episodes watching the little clock, the little stopwatch, generally applies to speed. And you'll see that Necrosis causes enemy characters or cards to trigger 1 second later. Now, if you saw with Junius, he's one of the immortals in the game. He has a -1. That means he's going to be going faster, because in Immortal Creed, this little speed indicator of 4, if this 4 is taken to a 3, then this card becomes faster. Now, if there's an increase to speed, it becomes slower. And that's why you see the +1 to speed is actually going to make this card slower. And this actually is a debuff to your enemy, whoever you're playing. Their card are going to trigger 1 second later because of this card. It also stacks with each use. So every time this card hits, now remember, you have to hit with the card in order to get the ability or to get the bonus or the debuff. If you hit with this card, you're going to cause your opponent all their cards to trigger 1 second slower in the game. Really nice card when speed's a factor. Moving on, let's go to Deliverance. Deliverance is a 1-turn card, 4 speed. You got the difference between 12 to 16 points of range damage here. Let's go look at it at level 10, because this card gets an ability also. Still 4 speed, 58 to 75 range damage, but now we have a minus 4%. We have the target for ranged, we have the reticle means to hit, and now we have that little minus right there. Now this card, similar to the Necrosis, affects your enemy. It doesn't affect you. What this does is it reduces your opponent's chance to hit with ranged weapons by 4%, and this stacks with each use. Like any other card in Immortal Creed, in order to get this ability, get the buff or the debuff from it, you have to hit with the card first. So on every successful hit, this is going to reduce your opponent's range to hit chance by 4%. And of course, if you'd like to look at it gets this ability starting at level 2, and you can see the different ones here if you come to the library and inspect each card at different levels. All right, moving on, let's go to our epics. We have the Neonite Crossbow, 2-turn card, 3 speed, 21 to 27 range damage, and at level 1, it's going to start adding a little bit of poison damage. You can see the little green vial right there, the 3. At level 1, if this card hits on a successful hit, not only are you going to apply the range damage, you're also going to apply 3 points of damage of poison. Taking a little bit of a second here to talk about poison and how it works in the game. Once poison is applied onto the card, at the end of that little turn, you're going to take that initial 3 points of poison damage, and on the next turn, you still have poison applied, except it's going to reduce. And how that works is you take that initial number it started with, so 3, reduce that by half, and then round down. So on the first turn that your opponent is poisoned, he'll take 3 points of poison damage, and on the next turn, it'll have round down to 1 point, and then on the following turn, because if you half the 1 to 0.5, basically rounds down to 0. So you're applying 3 points of poison damage on that turn, the next one 1 point, for a total of 4 overall. Now, as that poison damage numbers get higher, as they have, this poison can be applied and it can last for several turns in the game. So you're not only damaging your opponent with this card on its attack, but you're continuously damaging them down the road for the next few turns. Let's go look at this at level 10 and see what we got. All right, level 10, still 2-turn card, 3 speed, 139 to 178 range damage, and now we're looking at 12 points of poison damage on a successful hit. So applying our math for poison, you hit with this card, first turn, it's going to take 12 points of damage. Subtract, divide that to half. On the next turn, you're at 6. Divide it again on the next turn, you're at 3. Divide that again, and the next one, you're at 1. So you're actually adding on 12, 6, 3, and 1 damage with this card over the next 4 turns. Let's go look at Neonite Crossbow at level 1. It's a 1-turn card, speed of 3, 11 to 14 range damage. Now, this one didn't get the poison ability on the level 1 card. But, as you can see, the Obsidian Bow here does have a poison bonus to it. At level 10, you're looking at 57 damage to 74 range damage. And you're looking at 10 poison damage. This one works just like other poison on the Neonite crossbow. Same way, once it's applied, it's going to half the next turn, half that next turn, and continuously, dwindle away. And just like the Neonite crossbow, it has to be a successful hit in order for this poison to apply. So, really nice cards if you plan on hitting your opponent for some good amount of damage and also keeping that damage going for the next few rounds. We're going to move on to our rare cards here. We're going to Iron Striker. This is a really popular card in the game. A lot of people like this card. I like it too. 2-turn card, 3 speed, 22 to 28 range damage. And it does have an ability. Let's look at level 10 here. You'll see still 3 speed. We're 107 to 137 range damage. Not quite as high as the other, epics, rare, epics or legendaries. But it has this negative 5%, and you see the glove signifying melee, and then a minus right there, a little red minus sign. So, when you hit your opponent with this card, you're going to be reducing their melee damage by 5% on every hit that this card does, because its effects stack. Every time you use it and you hit, you're taking that melee opponent or the melee weapons down by 5% damage. And that applies to all melee weapons across the board. Really nice card. A lot of people seem to like it. So, now let's go here and let's look at the Honed Bow. Rare card. 1-turn card, 3 speed. You got 10 to 12 range damage. And you'll notice that this card, go look at level 10. No bonus. No extra bonuses here. There's no debuff, no buffs for this one. But you do get a good sized damage increase from 61 to 74 range damage. So, all these other cards, your legendaries and your epics, had some pretty good bonuses to them. You got a good one here on the rare Iron Striker. So the Honed Bow and the Ivory Bow don't have any kind of bonuses, any kind of buffs or debuffs to them, but they do have a good amount of damage, higher than most other rares in the game. The other rares that actually have any kind of buff or debuff associated with them. So level 1, the Ivory Bow, 3 speed, 9 to 13 range damage. And level 10, 59 to 76 range damage. So, all right, now real quick, we're going to go over our commons. Commons in the game don't have any abilities. The difference of these are you have 2 turns, you have 1 turns. Real quick, look at a 2-turn. Basic crossbow, 19 to 25 range damage, but it has a really good speed of 2. It's one of the fastest cards in the game as a common. Go look at it, level 10. Now you're up to 106 to 136 range damage. Still got that nice speed of 2. They may be common cards, but they're really, really fast. Let's go look at a 1-turn card here. You got the Refined Bow at level 1. 1-turn card, 2 speed, 9 to 11 range damage. Still got that great speed on there. Let's look at it at level 10. And you'll see we're up to 50 to 60 range damage. Still that speed of 2. All right. Most of the commons all generally fall within the same type of damage range. I'm not going to click in each one individually. They don't have any buffs or debuffs, so there's nothing uniquely special about them except for possibly their speed. Ranged is I do find that when I'm playing at the higher ranks of the game, I do lean into ranged a little bit, mostly because you have cards like Whisper's Pursuit here. Where you have this increase to hit chance. So you can push that to hit chance up to 100% to where you're always hitting with every attack. And then anything above that gets added into damage. At the higher ranks, I really enjoy playing ranged. I'll say that. All right, that's all for this episode. I just wanted to talk mainly about the ranged cards. On the next episode, I plan to come back and we'll talk about magic cards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.